What are Winti, Obeah, and Bono? The Surinamese Winti culture, also known today as Afro-Surinamese religion, is essentially a mishmash of everything that fits within the sphere of influence of the Surinamese Negro population. In the course of history, these people interspersed their new religion, Winti religion, with pre-existing stories and completed it with fisherman's Latin, means boastfulness. Subsequently, everything they found useful for her new religion was given a stubborn African Surinamese jacket. And this new Winti religion, which she has braided together, is still supplemented today with various items by so-called medicine men who bear a variety of self-invented profession titles, including Banyaman, Payaingi, Duman, or Dovrau, and the evil one variant is called Wissaman and Obeahman. In Suriname, the profession of Banyaman is popular and is often practiced by people with guts. Thus, this dark profession of medicine man can no longer be taken seriously, because almost everyone can do it and almost everyone does it. It seems like child's play, and the fairy tales are countless. The Surinamese black people, for example, have largely copied their interwoven Winti religion from their former white oppressors. This is not at all surprising, because their ancestors, the former slave population, unfortunately got literally and figuratively the wind from up front from their colonial masters. Getting the wind up front is a Dutch proverb and means being told the truth. In this case, that they are slaves and must behave themselves and obey their masters in everything. The word Winti is derived from the Dutch wind, note, spelling of 1914 AD. Later this concept became known in the Surinamese vernacular as spirit or forest or nature spirit, nature god, after which this originally Dutch word afterwards took on a life of its own in the Surinamese vernacular, rituals, prayers, and customs. The Surinamese Negroes or the Creole population have gradually devised the Surinamese history of everything together for the benefit of their Winti religion. In doing so, they invented all sorts of theories and rituals that seemed interesting to them. The Surinamese Winti civilization and incantation culture are fictitious, most of which are based on biblical rituals and prayers, on pure superstition, and surrounded with a large dose of primitive idiocy. Their Winti theories are, in a word, ridiculous, and the ghost stories incorporated in them are laughable. This does not alter the fact that the Surinamese Negro people are very resourceful and creative. Although it is all nonsense what the Surinamese people spout about their Winti activities and Winti religion, which is largely a primitive and self-made imitation of the religious culture of their former colonial bosses, it is nevertheless very amusing to be reminded of this. The Obeah and Bono shows are not only hilarious and comical, but they are also admirable performances in which one can see how this gullible Surinamese Negro population does its utmost to promote its cultural inventions and Winti religion through dance, song, and all kinds of collected primitive antics. To appear credible. Before most of the medicine men start their Obeah or Winti performance, they usually fill themselves completely with alcoholic beverages, including whiskey, kasirai, or home-brewed beer. Thus, the majority of the medicine men also taught their fellow villagers to booze over time. It is also known within the Surinamese community that the majority of Banyamans eagerly indulge in hallucinating plants, marijuana or cannabis sativa, and magic mushrooms, hallucinating mushrooms. Furthermore, all Banyamans have their own self-invented Obeah rituals and attributes. And once they are dead drunk and in a daze or stoned, they quickly mumble their invented spells in completely unintelligible gibberish, their so-called chromanti, sorcerer's language, in reality just drunken language, but in Surinamese or whatever they feel like is the magical language of the spirits. Usually, these witch doctors themselves do not even know what they are talking about during the rituals. And if you want more information about which spirits use the chromanti language, or what the spirits look like, or where exactly the spirits live, or where the spirit world is located, you will get a crazy answer. Furthermore, medicine men become entranced, during their rituals. As a result, they become beastly wild and overconfident in their dance improvisation, they stamp their feet violently on the ground, make strange buck jumps, and run around like mad cows. They also feel less or no pain from burns and other physical injuries that they inflict on themselves during their idiotic antics with blunt machetes or other cutting and stabbing objects prepared for this purpose. It is a myth that witch doctors become immune during their ghost show, but they are often fatally injured in all their antics involving sharp objects. And the witch doctor doesn't feel the pain until he sobers up. Then he tends to his wounds. This part is jealously hidden from the eyes of their sympathizers. Imagine when the public finds out that they have been cheated by someone who calls himself Obeahman or a witch doctor for his daily bread. Upon discovery, the latter may begin to forget his Bono profession altogether. Then he doesn't earn a hunk of bread anymore. All Winty, Obeah, and Bono shows are impressive performances full of nonsense and silliness. It's all instructive, unique, and funny to see, and laughter is healthy. What also always amazes me at an Obeah performance is the stoicism of the bystanders and customers of the Banyaman, who are dead serious about the superstitious spectacle and behave accordingly crazy. They then get so-called Winty and just produce silly things that you should not expect from a person with common sense. In itself, the theatrical healing of the dancing native herbalists looks innocent on the one hand, but the most pathetic thing about it all is that they are firmly convinced that they possess supernatural powers and that their ingenious hocus pocus actually offers healing. This is very sad. A toddler would say, "Can I play too?" In reality, this kind of local quacks have as much knowledge as someone who knows nothing and has no magic either. I have to give them credit for having a lot of guts and confidence. To reinforce their healing knowledge, they make potions and ointments of which the majority of the herbs are unknown, and suggest that the concoctions have medicinal properties and have a healing effect. Whether that is the case has never been proven. To prove their knowledge of the spirit world, they manufacture a variety of amulets that can protect against evil spirits. They also invented a variety of dribbles and spells derived from biblical texts on the spot. These intertwined ambiguous texts that they uttered during the seance are explained as the language of the ancestral spirits. To make an extra impression on their victims, some medicine men walk on shards of glass and also on fire, which is not an art in itself for those who are trained in this and have grown calluses abundantly under their feet. But to the underprivileged, gullible, and ignorant populace, these laughable pranksters are the great wizards in their eyes. During a bonus show, the naive and gullible audience listens breathlessly to all the rudimentary folly and playful performances. In addition, they look in awe at the achievements of the Banyaman, shaman, and medicine man and are completely convinced of their magical powers, because they wish to be cheated. This deception of the people is not only a thing of those backward and primitive lands, but this superstition and all its follies are widely practiced as a commonplace occupation and occur worldwide, so also in the so-called civilized and rich countries. People who seek refuge in this kind of dark business usually don't know any better. Most of them were brought up with dark values and have gradually stuck their lives in this. Thus says the teachings of Vishnu. Everyone is free in their way of life and everyone has their own opinion that no one else has. Every person must also decide for himself whether or not he wants to take off with the cuckoo. Quackery and bottle pulling are the same as the fortune tellers you see on television, where TV producers and the entire staff happily participate in common deceit to make money and boost ratings. It's totally fake, just a psychological manipulation of someone's mindset. Almost any idiot can do that, and it's perfectly legal. In general, skeptics get into a lot of trouble when they speak negatively about Winty, Bacros, ghosts, elves, gnomes, jinns, devils, etc. And anyone who dares to declare their fantasy as nonsense is viewed with hostility. Whoever compares someone who believes in such phenomena with having a delusion or psychosis is often very much blamed. But anyone who thinks that these kinds of figures, who see gnomes, ghosts, apukus, yorkas, bacros, and ghosts, are crazy, concludes this finding from their own reality framework. Personally, I call these people not crazy. I only suspect that within the context of experience, they have been brought up in a certain environment, as a result of which they have started to think and feel differently compared to the sober person. Some of the Banyamans, witch doctors, mediums, shamans, etc. want to feel separate and meaningful to society. Therefore, they behave as such to compensate for their sense of inferiority. They are projecting their brains. Personally, I find it difficult to start a discussion with witch doctors and people who can predict the future. I don't trust anyone who sees ghosts, backrows, or other dubious phenomena everywhere that really only exist in their brains. When there is a discussion about, for example, the existence of demons, evil, and good spirits, people appear who claim to have had contact with the spirit world. Some are even convinced that they are of extraterrestrial origin. And the experiences they share about the amazing ghosts, saints, and terrible monsters vary widely. Yet this craziness of the gullible man is not very special. For centuries, part of the world's population has believed in all kinds of half-human and half-animal monstrosities, some of which are still worshipped as gods. See India. And this tradition, in which monstrosities, inhumans, and fantasy figures play a prominent role, is still being carried on. There is more than we humans can perceive or comprehend, so it may very well be that some people can absorb some of that and see those ghosts, backrows, or ghosts and make a pact and work with them. Nevertheless, it is 100% certain that people who sell dubious practices as healing are reputable villains. In doing so, they use religious elements from the fairy tales of the Bible, Torah, Quran, etc. with the aim of cheating their fellow human beings and controlling desperate and superstitious people. There are always people who can say with conviction that a certain witch doctor or medicine man can perform miracles that no one else can. But anyone is free to sponsor a Banyaman or witch doctor who has cured someone by chance. However, this should not be regarded as general advertising for fellow human beings who do not want to be fooled. If they talk about a protective power as coming from a dark source that only they know about, then it should also be clear to everyone that we are dealing with a quack. A large number of people believe in the healing power of natural stones, animal products, and the meat of protected animal species, including snakeskins, monkey skulls, monkey meat, tiger meat, bones, ivory, tusk, teeth, claws, and nails of wild animals, cow pat and cow urine, and so on, all of which amounts to sheer superstition and primitive madness. But almost all common human physical ailments go away on their own that people have no idea about. The fact that people believe in the healing effect of natural elements is because people are generally ritually sensitive, as if they came from a primitive group of people who needed rituals to give themselves something to hold on to. And that people firmly claim that energy can be obtained from crystals that can be evoked during healings or psychic healings, is the greatest nonsense there is. This also applies to the homebrewed herbs, potions, ointments, spells, and rituals of the medicine men, shamans, and witch doctors, where the healing power and evidence of healing must be sought completely behind the ears. Thus says the teachings of Vishnu, those who do not want to hear our story should simply button up their ears. And those who do not want to know the truth should not read our treatises and books. And if the shoe fits, wear it.